All right, great people. We're gonna go ahead and get this party started. Hopefully, everybody's feeling well. We send out one last blast to let everyone know we are on. For anyone that's coming, I know today's class, of course, will be lighter, so that's cool. Hopefully, everybody had a great day. The market's gonna open up tomorrow, though. Right, so we do have a Friday session, which is on deck, and this call is being recorded. So definitely. You are going to make sure that you can hear. Everyone should be able to hear me. In addition, as well, see me. So, mm, 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 mm. So, see real quick. All right. So it should be good to go there. Everyone should hear. And in addition, as well, see me. So good on that. Merry Christmas. So let's go ahead and break this thing down. Get this thing started. All right. So let's go. And see here. All right. Let me go ahead and do this. Go ahead and share my screen with everybody. Mm, 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 mm. All right. So we got the QQQ, which is right now at 623 and change. So tomorrow, last time we saw here on the QQQ, we did close at 623 and change. So you are looking for a break. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm here to tell you that the SPY is on the way to $700. So the S&P 500 right now is getting ready to set up to go to 700. So I did want to express that to you guys here tonight. 700 on the S&P 500 is right around the corner. So do get ready on that regard for us to see us going to $700 a share, right? And now here on 626 is going to be that pivot area on QQQ. All right. So 626. A good thing about Wednesday's session, because I know today's Thursday, good thing about Wednesday's half session was we did see a movement and a jolt and a push upward on NVDA. Right. So we did reject right there almost at $190. So the areas for you to really watch next is once we can get above $190, that will take the QQQ over 626. So I want to make that note now. Once we get above, right, once we get above 190, excuse me, on the QQQ, we will likely be able to break that 626. So as we always know, our highest asset in the S&P and as well the NASDAQ is what? Ticker NVDA. So I do see that building and us pushing up more to the upside. So I'd like to see us on NVIDIA do that, and that'll definitely help us move up higher. So those are my thoughts there. Now, last night I was looking at IBM. I wanted to make this note because I want to talk about IBM. As you can see here, IBM is still stuck within this flag pattern here on the weekly. Now, I know we've seen a lot of conversation about AI, quantum computing, just really the whole space in the industry. I'm here to tell you that a lot is going to happen, in my opinion, to move in the right direction, right? We are going to see IBM next year probably break out some more. So I like a price target of 350 on International Business Machines Corp. IBM's been around a while. They've been tested, battle tested, all of that good stuff. So you are going to see, um, particularly IBM, in my opinion, break out of this bull flag. So I like IBM to the upside, right? So I did want to make that note. I posted a couple of things and notes today with you guys. I know on Sunday, which Sunday we will have our official drop of the 2026 stock and options playbook. So a lot of great things. If you're not going to be there, you definitely are going to want to catch that recording. Now, for IBM, particularly, like I said, a bull flag break. I did want to just point that out. What I see on IBM, it's been flagging here for some time. Very similar to the GEV setup that we talked about. The GEV ended up breaking out to the upside. We see where that ran. Meta levels to pay attention to tomorrow. Tomorrow is a full trading day, by the way. For those that don't know, tomorrow will be a full equities trading day. So we do have a full day on the docket. Now to get you guys prepped, of course, we talked about Meta in the beginning of this week, but we also highlighted them again. Meta platforms right now is currently at $666. Ideally, we would like to see Meta though get above 674. So I did want to make that note to everyone that's listening here today. Meta platforms above 674 is definitely going to be ideal for you guys. So over that level, I mean, there's a point at maybe 680, but ideally we'll see Meta platforms break out to 691. Meta sometimes can be sneaky in January, especially, a lot of stocks like to run before their earnings report. You know that Meta is going to report earnings in January. Something just tells me that Meta is going to move to the upside. I just have a strong intuition with Meta that it's going to be sneaky. Like we'll have one of these $20 days on Meta here soon, like where to break out 15, $20 to the upside. So I'm anticipating that we do have a $20 day on the upside there to where we move on Meta. So I did want to make that note. I actually dropped something in the community actually here not too long ago. And I actually want to point that out, just some of my notes. And this was something that I highlighted just for a little bit, just a couple, giving you guys a little bit of a preview of what's to come. And particularly here on Meta, right? Where we go. The pivot point level is 691. So momentum expected early January. So notice how we're wrapping and mapping pretty much the entire position out for you. So that's where we're letting you know, hey guys, momentum is expected to deliver early January to the upside. So Merry Christmas to everybody that's just joining in. It's 8:26 here on the East Coast, 5:26 on the West Coast. Shout out to all my West Coast people in the building. As well, shout out to some of my UK people. I see a couple UK members that are in the building right now. So I did want to say that. We acknowledge you, appreciate you, and all of that good stuff. So pivot point is 691. Ideally, we would say 3 to 6 month out options. Now, Meta obviously is more expensive than what it used to be. You also have METU. You can play the 2x levered ETF of Meta. Now, the previous sell off was driven by a one time tax charge that Meta had. So, if you looked at their last earnings, you may have seen, okay, Meta slipped. What was the rationale and the reason behind why they fell? The main reason why Meta came to the downside is the one time tax charge. So, that ended up sending the stock south for a short period of time, but we've been on the incline since then. We've had a nice recovery. So those are really my thoughts. I just wanted to kind of share a little bit of that there, share a little bit of good energy. For my people that's in the program, we will have reviewing the test as well on Sunday. So I'm giving everybody extra time to just get right and finish that. I've had over 200 submissions via the test. So I do want to give the community their flowers there. I know there's some people that get an opportunity to take the test the rest of the way. So just my thoughts. Now, let me go here, go single screen on this ticker, and that's TGT. I want to talk about Target because, particularly with TGT, I did a lot of watching and scoping out Target over the past couple of days, and just to see the amount of people that I believe and just across the board I've seen shop at Target. Particularly, I'm excited for Target's earnings because I think they're gonna throw some people the other way. Now, Dollar General ended up doing a very similar thing where they came down to the 70s and they ended up rallying back to the upside. You notice that Dollar General is actually back at about 135 bucks in that range. So ticker DG, I'm looking at Dollar General saying, man, nice recovery. Where did price actually bounce at? A significant support area. On target, if you notice, we never really got below that 81. And ideally, if we can break out over $107, I think you see Target go back to the upside. Now, part of me, someone, asked me the question, Lawrence, do you see Target being bullish or bearish in 2026? And for some reason, it usually goes the other way a lot of times, right? When everyone is so much on the short side of something, a lot of times that ends up because now the expectations, have been dropped. I do think that Target has a chance to do a bit of a rebound. Not saying they go all the way to 150 because I don't think that, but I do think that Target will kind of be able to be sneak by, and I expect a recovery in Target versus more downside. I wanted to see it get below 81 for more downside, and that obviously just never really materialized. So if you're looking at TGT, and shout out to all my people that's just joining in, it takes real serious dedication for you to show up and say, hey, I know it's a holiday, spending time with your family. Hopefully, you guys had some of those 10, 15, 20-minute conversations today on a lot of the things that we discussed and spoke on, because I know that was one thing I said, hey, if we can fellowship, let me get 10 to 15 minutes, 20 minutes. If we're truly family, you know what I'm saying? We should be able to tell people, like, hey, I love you, but we got to talk about these financials. We got to talk about why we should be investing, why we should be putting our money in Bitcoin, because Bitcoin is only going up. It's just what it is. Yes, there's dips and there's pullbacks, but that's any asset class. Gold and silver have had pullbacks, commodities, right? So commodities can pull back, but in the long run, they continue to appreciate in value. So a lot of us has been, fooled while I'm here on Target, the boycott boys, as I call them. We're going to boycott Target and we're going to hit them good. Well, that thing died this holiday season. I'm here to tell you that you can put a nail in that coffin. That is over with. It is cooked. The Target boycott, you might as well cancel. You cancel because let me just tell you, they was in Target and they were shopping and they were dropping those bags. I also made mention to in the United States of America, a lot of times, across the board, people tend to have short-term memory loss. So what do I mean by that? People, we just had checks withhold for 6 weeks for many of Americans. TSA workers not being paid, other government employees across the board not being paid, some government employees being furloughed and not even being welcomed back, right? Once the government reopened, not even said, hey, come back. It said, hey, you're done. But yet we see that people seem to have short-term memory. I'm just here to remind people what situation and setup we in. Next year, we had a Federal Reserve interest rate decisions, as always. But you look across the board at the calendar, next year is a huge year because it's a pivot point year. We talk about pivot points on a chart, but then you also have a pivot point year because look at this 2026. These FOMC meetings lined up. This is going to be the year that Jerome Powell is no more. Who comes in next? Likely someone who has Donald Trump's agenda at the top of their mind. And that's going to sway, right? And this is something I don't think is being talked about enough, but I want to be loud about it. And it's 8:33 here, right here now, right now on the East Coast. Shout out to everybody that's here in the building. We appreciate your dedication and you coming in and tapping in with us always, because you didn't have to be here, but you know what? You decided to say, you know what? L's on. The Kansas City Chiefs is already eliminated. So what the hell I'm watching that game for? You know what I mean? Hey, KD and LeBron, they already got their legacy cemented, and they got a nice wallet to go back with it. But you guys decided, you know what? I'm gonna show up here. I'm gonna listen in the L. I'm gonna have my notepads ready because I want to be ready come January 1. So the people that's in the building right now, I want to give you guys your flowers. There's 85 community members. Drop some fires in the chat. Drop some fires in the chat. Daniel says watching this Zoom, eating this good food too with the family. 100%. That's what it's about. Drop some fires in the chat because you guys showed up ready to work. Mills, shout out to you. Drew in the building at work sneaking. I love that. You know what I mean? Give some fires for yourself because that's the dedication that's going to push you over the top. That's what you need. That type of dedication is going to push you over the top. Just my thoughts. Merry Christmas. Wouldn't be nowhere else, man. We had to get this in. I know some people's like, hey, am I going to get a little love today? I knew it. So someone asked a question, why is Bitcoin and ETH always tanking? So I think that's an incorrect statement, but I do want to highlight. So Bitcoin and ETH are not always tanking. I mean, if you look at their charts, and I'm glad you asked this because I wanted to have the conversation about this, particularly when it comes to Bitcoin and Ethereum. And I know that some people are going to have their families listening in right now. So maybe there may be an opportunity for some of you guys to cast this on your televisions or for you to maybe put me on speaker, however you may choose to do so. Right. But now we're literally buying money that's going to appreciate. And I just want to explain this, right? When it comes to Bitcoin and Ethereum, particularly Bitcoin first, because everything that I say right now may not apply all the way to Ethereum, but specifically BTC. It has a limited amount of supply. And BTC, we've seen this trend over and over again. It's time for BTC to pull back maybe a tad more. But next year, that's it. I'm gonna tell you guys, that's gonna be the lowest price that you guys get before the next halving. This is going to be the lowest price that you get before the next halving. So this is a great spot. And shout out to all my people that's listening in here. Shout out to the people that's here on the tube. This is the place you want to be because we're providing you education as to how and as to why. When I look at coinmarketcap.com, and we're going to debunk a few things here. Yes, XRP may be number 5 in market cap, right? But its circulating supply is vastly different than Bitcoin's. You got 60 billion XRP in circulating supply versus 19 million Bitcoin. And then as well, 120 million ETH. So there's a major difference as to why. If you notice, the cryptos that are more volatile that have shown you all are within the millions as far as circulating supply. Number 7, Solana, which is a name I like. When you also take a look here at even at BNB, which is 137 million. You look at Ethereum at 120. And you also look at Bitcoin, 19 million. So BTC is from a scarcity. Bitcoin's, Bitcoin is one of those things that's a scarcity thing. There's only so much amount of BTC, right? So the overall crypto market right now is worth about 2.94 trillion. So you also have Microsoft, you also have Nvidia, you also have Apple, right? As well, you have Google, right? That are all worth more from a company perspective than the whole total market cap. Right now, when you are looking here on particular BTC, Bitcoin is the one that obviously you want to get the best price that you can get on BTC. Now, right now, we're currently at 87K. I'm going to go back and show you guys. Last time around, we pulled back to 15, right? When we pulled back from 66 to 15, that was in November of 2022. So it was the third year after BTC halving. So everyone waits, and I see everyone here in the building right now. everyone waits until assets go high. I just had someone in my comments that said on my post, they said, "Well, why don't you have Micron recommended?" I'm like, "Do you think I would really recommend someone to buy Micron at $280 when I recommended them to buy it at 80 bucks?" Why would I tell somebody to buy Micron at 280? Not to say that Micron isn't about to go to 300, 350, etc. But you want to wait for a pullback. Now, are you getting $80 anytime soon? Maybe ever again. I'll probably say not, no. The way this thing is priced, because at $80, it was undervalued. But for like everyone wants to wait until something's cooking with fish oil and you want to jump on a bandwagon. That's why Palantir is on the no-go list. You do not need to, and you can stick around because we're gonna make sure that you guys are gonna give. We're gonna make sure that we give you guys away some prizes. So we got you. What I'm gonna say is that don't just be here for the prize. Make sure you taking these notes because I'm giving you a gift that's always gonna keep giving, and that's what Bitcoin is. Bitcoin is the best Christmas gift there is because you want to know why? Bitcoin leads to freedom. Because in the very near future, if you don't have Bitcoin, you won't have wealth. These are the facts. No fiction, no fiction here. This isn't about stocks versus crypto. We're talking about asset classes right now. If you don't have Bitcoin, you won't have wealth because BTC is going to be a quarter million. It will be 500,000. I'm not going to say it's going to happen. I'm not going to be like the 250 boys. 250 boys, 250, we'll be at 250 by mid 2025. Well, damn it, it's 2026 and it still ain't happened. And guess what? It probably won't happen until maybe 2028. And that's a maybe 2029. I don't really see a quarter right now unless I don't see that until maybe the end of the decade. That's just my thoughts. And that may not even happen. What I do know though, is 2035, 2040, the more that we have system issues. And what do I mean by that? The Federal Reserve System is broken. Why is the Federal Reserve System? Because every time they never let the markets, they never let the world deal with it. They always come to quote unquote rescue, but the rescue is designed by eroding your purchasing power. These are just the facts. The Federal Reserve, anytime we get into a bit of trouble, they unload. And so what I want to stress to you guys is, yes, the stock market, the S&P 500 is at an all-time high. Is Bitcoin at an all-time high? No. Now is every stock on the market at an all-time high? No. Is the Nasdaq at an all-time high? No. Risky assets always lag behind. So that's one thing that I want you guys to get across to you guys. Risky assets always tend to sometimes lag behind in recovery. Why? Because people don't always just jump easily back in. But you know where they've been jumping into? Just print money, JPM, baby. Goldman Sachs, GS, jumping right in. So what you got to realize is, it's particularly here on BTC and Ethereum, these are two of your more risky assets. And they also move in cycles. And right now, particularly, this move down here on Bitcoin, we are going and as well Ethereum. We talked about this in 2026. There may be an opportunity that opens up for you to get Bitcoin at maybe 58, 66K. You should be jotting that stuff down because now you have education, so you're not nervous, you're not fearful. So many times people are fearful because you lack preparation. Lacking preparation will leave yourself fearful because when bad things happen, then you ask the questions. Oh, but why did this come down? Well, it was more than likely overvalued at the time. Well, why did this come down? Well, it was probably sitting in the distribution and was ready to pull back. In this case with BTC, you would be a buyer of Bitcoin anywhere less than 70K. I mean, even now is not a bad price, but you have to change your mindset. Like if someone bought Bitcoin today, they would be under the assumption of saying, hey, I am going to long-term invest, particularly not just based upon price today, but where I expect it to be in the future. So for someone buying right now here in the 80 range, they may be saying, well, this asset I see being 250. So I get it at 60, 70, 80. It really doesn't matter to me because if at 60, I'll just buy more if that's your prerogative. But if you know you see this at 80 and you can't stomach it going to 60 mentally or, financially, etc., then you shouldn't be buying it here. But what if it, you always playing those but you ain't got in the game yet. A lot of people is living through vicariously through theory. What do I mean by that? You got all the theories in the world, but you still ain't figured this thing out. You want to know why? Because you still stuck in the textbook. But even there, some people ain't even read the literature. So you still stuck not even in the textbook. You still stuck not doing what you need to be doing. And I'm talking to a few people here tonight that's just playing around thinking that this is just a hobby. Don't let time dust yourself by and you ain't pulled the trigger on some of these things because I'm going to say something that's not a prediction. This is going to be a spoiler and I'm going to be loud about it. One of my so on Sunday, we are going to give many spoilers. And what I'm going to tell you right now is a spoiler. This will be the last Bitcoin cycle that you get BTC below 100K. I'm just going to tell you this. The next time we run up in 20, I'll say this, back half of 2026, early 2027, leading us into 2028, and Bitcoin may go to 100. I'm going to say this, Bitcoin goes to 175K, you will never see it below 100K again. And I'm just want you guys to know these are spoilers, not predictions. So I'm telling you here now, when Bitcoin goes to 175, 200K, because that's my target for the next cycle, I'm not even having a 250 target for the next cycle because I don't think it'll go there. But what I will say is Bitcoin goes to 175K. Just think about this, right? And this is where I go solo screen. Factor in how much is going to have to be erased. If BTC, oops, wrong one. Let me go back. There we go. Go over here to my Bitcoin real quick. If BTC ends up going to 150, 175K, notice something here. It gets up here to these levels during 2028, 2029, up here, 2030, right here in these areas. Notice how much it's going to have to pull back down to get to a huncho. At 175,000, that's a lot. 75K, that's a lot of market cap. Not to say it couldn't happen, but I think it'd be slim. Obviously, you've seen here, anytime that BTC has went up, it's never broken below its previous low price. In 2018, right, it went down to 3,500. When we pulled back here in 2022, we ain't go nowhere near 3,500. We got to 16K. We went from 16K to 125, 26, right? Now we're back here at 80. So we're thinking bottom may be around 50 to 60,000. That's our thoughts. My personal opinion is you're never seeing Bitcoin go below 50K ever again. That's my personal opinion. Bitcoin is never going below. And if you're picking up what I'm putting down, put this is, and you know what? This should scare you now. Exactly. Now you should be scared. Because let me tell you why. Because now Bitcoin is going to stay in the average salary zone next year, right? In my opinion, right? Where the average salary. That means that the average salary now is going to be the lowest Bitcoin pretty much ever goes, right? In between that 50 to 60,000 range for the average United States salary. Just let that sink in. One Bitcoin. So I'm going to ask you guys this question. BTC goes to 175K. Do you think it'll ever go below 100K again? Let me ask, what's your guys' thoughts? Let's weigh in. If Bitcoin goes to 175K, do you think it will get underneath 100 or never again? I see mainly no's. Gotta zoom out. Nope, nope, never, never. Probably 125K. I would agree with you, Jamar. That's where would see it pulling back to. Let's say 175. That'll probably be the floor. And maybe 100 if something, we could, never say never, but if something just left field happened, right? So not based upon history, 100%. So to me, this is the best asset that you should be buying. You make money from some stock options. You have some extra funds. You should be allocating that as much as possible. So 2026 is so important because this is the last time they really get Bitcoin before the next run up. And we can't time it all the time. We don't know where. I mean, maybe it does go to 250,000. Then it's definitely not even coming back below. It may go to 250 and never get below 150. So the piece is you got to act now. I made an analogy and I want to share that again. I know a lot of people are sitting, in a really good spot, especially for homeowners that have been home. We've had people who've been homeowners. Some people in this program have pretty much paid off their home. Some people have been homeowners for 5, 10, maybe 15 years, depending on just who you talk to here. Right. And I would say that, I mean, I'm not trying to make any suggestions particularly, but I can see it happen. And these are just some of the things I've been approached with. There's people that are actively going to be looking to sell their homes next year. And they already actively looking to sell it now. Because if you have a 3, 4, 500, depending on where you're at, or a 6, 7, 800, $1 million home, some people would seriously consider downsizing right now if Bitcoin would come to 50K. My thought process is why wait until everyone else wants to do it? Why not get ahead? Why not be early to the party, right? So to me, I look at it from that perspective. It's like, yo, pay attention to the times. You can get paid in Bitcoin now. Some places, right? I'm not going to speak in absolutes. You can, for business owners, you can convert your sales easily into getting paid in Bitcoin. So pay attention to that trend too. That lets you know what the times is changing. So I'm highlighting this so much because guys, I see this thing plain as day. And I know you guys see it too. And the fact that we see it, why? Because we're tapped in to the day-to-day climate changes. I'm not talking about weather, but the day-and-day climate changes of this economic system. And I highlighted that the Federal Reserve system is broken. Why? Because the Federal Reserve has been devaluing our money. The Federal Reserve is the real bank robbers. The Federal Reserve is the real scammers. They're the real criminals because the Federal Reserve has blatantly devalued our money because they've taken and made quote unquote cheap money access. So the more people get fooled to think that access to money being easier is better, it's wrong. When access is harder to gain capital, access is harder for loans. That's better because that slows, right? Money supply. We have an abundance of money supply, which is called a surplus. So with us having a surplus, that creates a problem because we have too much circulating right now. And we're in a surplus, which causes what? Why are assets like the S&P 500, the QQQ, Nvidia, AMD, MU, Tesla, why are stock prices so stretched? Many businesses stretched forward. The reason being is because the Federal Reserve has played hand in hand on pushing these assets to where they're at because cash is truly trash. So people are looking to what? Always gain yield. I want everyone to put that in the chat. What's the number one thing right now that you actually want to get? You want to get yield. So you need to have your money making more money. I want you guys to put that down. Yield. What is an investor looking for? They're looking for yield. So at this point in time, we've seen just what it is. Stock prices become inflated because people don't want to be in cash. Pay attention to now how the drops compared to 2000 to 2002 or 2007 to 2008, or even previously, we take it back to the 80s and the 90s when we've seen certain pullbacks within the market. Now, what you're noticing is, and fire this chat up to my people that's in the building, this is what we're talking about. You see, listen, we focus on getting paid and making sure we in the best position possible. The brothers who are playing right now, they could go and take their salary in Bitcoin for the rest of the year. And when Bitcoin goes to 250,000, they'll have generational wealth. Some of these players already have generational wealth. So yeah, sports talk is cool. I had to tell my family that today. We can talk about sports and we can talk about people's contracts. But listen, if Russell Wilson is going to be at the side, he's going to be on the sidelines at the Knicks game. That brother, he robbed the Broncos of that money that he got from there because he damn sure didn't show up for him, which is why they got bold Knicks. I'm sorry, Russell Wilson fans. I like Russell, good brother. Really, really appreciate for everything that he does. But we got to start having these conversations about these assets. I don't give a damn about what Russell Wilson got going on. That's his business. But what I do care about is what we got going on. Because, quote unquote, this is just a reality. We have a consumer problem within our communities to where one second we're boycotting Target, the next second we're in Target and we're making sure that we blow all of the money that the government just gave us back. And we were asking for the government to reopen. And we say, you know what, man, next time, man, I'm gonna do better, man. I'm gonna do better. I know, what I'm saying, I'm gonna do better. I know, I see what the government doing. They playing us, man. Okay. Well, they played you and they just got your check. They check that they just sent you. They got it all right back because you gave it to them. So let's not be on the outside, not taking accountability for our stuff. It's just a reality. We got to take accountability as a community for our stuff that we still getting excited about, just what it is. We get excited about things that should not be prevalent right now. This is what's more important. So you ask me what's the best gift, and it don't got to just be bought today for Christmas. What's the best gift that someone, if you truly love somebody over these next 365, if you don't buy them Bitcoin, you don't love them. This is just what it is. If you don't buy them Bitcoin in the next 365 days for the person, I don't want you to say you love them. This is the opportunity. This is the moment. This is what you've been waiting for. So some people have been saying, yo, I've been waiting on a pullback. At 125,000, everyone said, I'll wait for BTC to pull back and I'm gonna grab it. It's at 87K, and I'm telling you, you got a shot to get it at maybe 60, 70 at its lowest. You know what I mean? 50 if any extreme pain comes in. The question is, are you in position? Are you in position? Are you in position? Commodities is going to rise to the top. Think about all your commodities. Think about all your commodities. Bitcoin's one of them, but you got your silver, your gold, real estate, land, cultivation. You know what I mean? That's what it comes down to. So there's different levels. Some people are going to do multiple. Some people may have to focus on maybe just one thing, maybe not be able. So this is what I'll say. Control what you can control. And in this thing right now, one of the main things that you can control is where you buy. That's what you need to focus on. ETH, 16 to 100 to 2100. Those are my thoughts, right? Like the 1600 range to 2100 range for ETH. And we do have a gem when it comes to ETH. And I'll just keep that in house on how you can get exposure into ETH. But there is a way that you can get exposure into ETH as well, but I'll keep that in house. If you know, you know. If you don't, you don't. But you tap into this community, you can get this access in this game because we giving it to you straight business, live right here at 9 p.m. And this is what we do. We show up, we deliver value. We don't look to entertain you, but we do want to make sure that you leave informed. And I want everyone to put something in the chat right now. I am a informed investor. That's what I want you to put in the chat. I am a informed investor. You see, because when you don't know, it's gonna tick you off. This is something I always say. A lot of times people they get ticked off because you don't understand the variables at play. And when you don't understand the variables, it puts you in a bad spot. A lot of people are coming behind the eight ball because once again, they're not paying attention, right? They are not paying attention. So it is here, 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 here. What are things here? We right now at December 25th. Discipline and consistency will outweigh your motivation. There will be days where you're not motivated. That's the reality. There will be times where you're not motivated. Those are the times where you have to push through. So I want everyone to say, I am an informed investor. I am a informed investor. So you're making what? Informed decisions. You are not waiting, right? I just want to say this. You are one thing I would say. You are if you are an informed investor, you now are go searching for the information and you're not making moves off of just hype. You're making moves off of what you know, not what you tend to believe. You make moves off of things that you know and you've seen. A lot of the mistakes that I've made, I try to highlight them as much as possible. Why? Because now this can make things easier for you, right? When I highlight my mistakes, you can learn from those mistakes and say, hey, LE is telling me not to do something, so let me not do it, right? Let me not do what he's telling me not to do, right? That's power. Very, very, very powerful, right? Is to follow what I'm, right, telling you not to do. If I say, yo, don't do this, do not fall victim and do it anyway. Because a lot of times people are being tempted by the wrong information, right? You are being tempted by the wrong information. So I want to talk about UPS for a second. Now, UPS is not really just something going into next year, but I just think going forward, right? We always talk about companies that may go into spend mode. And this is where I'm going to provide you some education. Now, listen to this carefully. Now, UPS is in cost cutting mode. So they've been laying people off. They've been looking to cut more staff as well, but they're also bringing in AI automation. What's the goal of any business? Is to create the best margins. So in this case in time, UPS, their job because they know their stock price has dwindled and their business has shrinked. Their job is to be able to what? Now lower their output as far as spending, which the easiest way to do that is to lay off staff. And the second thing is you have to figure out how to also make sure you're still having the same productivity. So productivity and output go hand in hand. What is a company outputting? How much are they spending? What are they actually taking and putting back into the company? Because in Netflix's case, Netflix is going in aggressive spend mode right now. They spending that money because Netflix is saying, hey, these moves that we make, this WWE deal, AEW, right, is now with Warner Brothers. So now they acquired that. So those were big moves that Netflix made, but they weren't cheap moves. And majority of the time when you make big moves, they're not cheap. You can ask Jeff Bezos back in 2016 to 2018, Jeff Bezos was getting hammered by his own investors about Amazon Prime. Would you freaking believe it? He was getting hammered saying, hey guys, we need to take this money over here. We need to invest it in Prime. So your profits are going to be a little bit tight right now. But if you stay down, you'll get rewarded. You look at Amazon today and you see what it is today, but many people don't see the times when companies are going through effective cutting measures. Cost effective cutting measures because you have to. You have to make a response. When your stock gets decimated 50%, great companies step up to the podium and they make a response. Meta Platforms did at $90. You think they had their full staff? No. They made the decisions to put themselves in the best position possible. They had to cut that metaverse BS out. So UPS said, hey, we got to send some people home, but we've also been using artificial intelligence. So now in our warehouses, we're becoming more automated. So the everyday warehouse worker is being eliminated in the United States of America. These are just the facts. Don't wait for the ad to run on your local news station. What I'm telling you it right now. And it's not much of a spoiler that I'm telling you. I'm just telling you the reality. And the reality is not that all jobs are being taken, but the jobs that they've been using AI to do, artificial intelligence, AI machine learning, pay attention, AI machine learning. So it's been learning, it's been among us for a long period of time. It's been among us for a long period of time. You think AI just was birthed last year? You think AI was just birthed 2 years ago? AI has been around for the past 40, 50 years, and it's been learning all of us, different versions, different iterations. But now it's ready to come to the fold in forms of humanoid robots. What does that sound like to you? I vividly remember in 1982, Terminator 1 coming out. I vividly remember in 1994 or 96, Terminator 2, Rise of the Machines coming out. I vividly remember Terminator 3, and that was 2003, Terminator 3, Rise of the Machines coming out. And I vividly remember Terminator 4, Salvation. I believe that was 2007. What I know is at every step of the way, I remember there was a robot. Now, the time travel piece may have been fiction, but damn it, you about to see some robots that look like humans called cybernetic organisms. Just like a virus movie was, going around. You had this virus, you had 12 monkeys, you had all these viral. The CDC let this virus loose. Whole time it was a Chinese virus. Just what it is. Dr. Fauci was on trial. Senator Rand Paul. These are just facts. No fiction here. Rand Paul called Dr. Fauci's ass. You gonna come testify, man. Because you and Bill Gates had them patents lined up, didn't you? And you was putting that money on them patents because your asses was lining up those vaccines because you was trying to release a virus to kill half this world. You just couldn't do it, but you did take 1 million American lives, so your ass should be in jail. And I'm glad your security detail was pulled. Oh, I'm talking that talk tonight. And so these are just the facts when we take a look at it. No conspiracies, no fluff, no gimmicks. These are the facts. And so when we look at this, we gotta say, and we gotta follow how companies are making moves when it comes to cost effective. That's just what it comes down to because AI is here and it's been here. It's just obviously learned enough. It's learned enough. And now it's ready to step into the fold. And the question is, as Triple H would say, are you ready? And Shawn Michaels, are you ready? Because I don't think most people are. And as this country and in many countries across the world, there's a dangerous game that's being played. This is why I say Bitcoin, those commodities, land, you know what I'm saying? Because the world is in a very tricky place right now. So yes, you need money in investments, but you also need to invest in protection. These are just the facts. I think one of the greatest investments that you need to make, and I ain't just talking about guns. I'm talking about because I believe everybody should have the right to, bear arms. But you got a lot of things brewing in this world very, very, very quick and fast. So all the things I'm talking about, some are related to strictly just stock market investments, but other things are related to actually real world things that are happening right now. And the question was, if things was to hit the fan today, And we ain't gonna call it conspiracy, not when we already seen a virus try to come through and kill half the world. Just the facts. And it was put because the Pentagon has what? They have a budget for this. These are the facts. You can go look all these things up. Everything I've said tonight is factual, no fiction. You can go look up Rand Paul testifying with Dr. Fauci. You can go look up Dr. Fauci and Bill Gates putting their money on these patents and then telling everybody they got to get the vaccines. We get it now because you guys were in on it. Or Bill Gates sitting and talking about what would be something. So these are just the facts. You don't get money like that being nice. These are just the facts. Elon Musk, most of us, we don't think he's nice at all. Hell, Elon Musk, majority of us don't even think he likes black and brown people. And these are factual. If you listen to his father, yeah, these are just facts. Just facts. No fiction tonight, only facts and spoilers. So when it comes down to it, we got to pay attention to the times we're in. This isn't to spook or scare nobody, but this is just a reality. This is why the moves that we make here and how we collectively do it together, it matters. Because we all want to create a better world for our children. We all want to create a better world for the people that come after us. And if we don't take the right steps and initiatives, we're going to miss. So this is the conversations about not missing. How to put yourself in the right place of mind to make sure you do hit on the mark. So you do know what's happening, what's going on. It's not always about a ticker and a trade. Everyone's looking for the 10x ticker, the 20x ticker, which is out there. But let me ask you a question. Are you prepared for the worst? Are you prepared for when things hit the fan? Are you prepared for that? Because if you're not, it don't matter if you got 1 million, 2 million, 5 million, 10 million in your stock portfolio or 10,000. These humanoid robots get loose and they get programmed the wrong way. They ain't gonna be asking you what's in your brokerage account. They're gonna be looking to take you down. So you better be prepared. You better start investing, not just in the stock market. You better invest in your protection from AI. That's what it comes down to. Invest in your protection from AI. And that looks different for different people. When I say investing in your protection, some people's gonna have to make some career changes because next year more people are gonna get sent home and laid off because these companies are saying, yo, we are going all in on profitability. The easiest and quickest way is to utilize AI. Like you said, Mind the Banks just said AI drones. It's here. It's already being, it just happens obviously in major cities first. They start doing little testing. Waymo's full force in Atlanta. We talked 6 months ago about Waymo. Oh, we see a couple Waymos, couple Waymos. You see them every day. Just giving examples. What happens when Uber gets all of this autonomous driving? That's going to be here by this end of this decade at a full force. Not saying all the way, but it's going to, it's going to be stronger. Pretty much full force. So pay attention to how times is changing. Invest in change. It's 9:12. I don't want this to be a long-winded conversation, but I wanted to make sure that I set you guys up with some good value. You do have earnings season, which will kick off here the second week of January. So I wanted to make sure, and no one should leave because I'm going to do the giveaway. And I want you guys to put some fires in the chat because I'm also going to give away to my community as well here too. I just wanted to make sure that everyone has earningswhispers.com as earnings are going to get ready to start happening here in a second. So we'll be back in full force in earnings season already. Earnings is what drives the market, as many people know. Make sure that you have your Yahoo Finance set up. And I will drop the pre-market notes for you guys here. I'm excited to do so. Pre-market notes are going to actually go ahead and come out. So pay attention to the pre-market notes tomorrow. We have a full day tomorrow. Full day. So I want you guys to put some fires in the chat, drum roll this thing for my people that's here live on the YouTube, for my people that's here live on the Instagram, and my people that's here live in the building. So we're going to start off with my people. I'm actually going to, let me see who we got in the house. Let's see who we got in the house. We got some Zoom users. So let me make sure that you guys go ahead and change and switch up your names for a second. Let's see here. So let's go ahead and do this. So I actually am, let me see. Oh, Queen is here. Okay, I knew I saw her name earlier. So um I want to actually go ahead and give this opportunity. I want to actually, before I even give this opportunity to this individual, uh I see names, I pay attention to the role. I just want to give you your flowers by way of up top, in the northeast of the United States of America, this queen. I want to give you your flowers here right now. You guys see where my cursor is at. Um, Before I even, go into exactly what you get, you've obviously came into the community roughly, it was Memorial Day, based upon my recollection. You can correct me if I'm wrong, Miss Morger. You came in and yeah, you executed, pulled the trigger. You immediately came in and were in every single class. If you miss a class, you're watching the recording by way of up there, North Top, Northeast, Boston, Massachusetts. So I do want to give you your flowers, just saying that you came in every single time and you delivered on what you needed to deliver on. So I'm gonna go ahead and send you a text. You have one free opportunity for the 4-day live in-person training in 2026. So I did want to give that to you here in front of everybody and say we appreciate you guys. We appreciate you, but I do want to say I appreciate everyone being in the building. So Queen M, we're gonna go ahead and give you your flowers. Definitely want to say thank you for being here on every single Zoom. So Queen M, you can go ahead and send me a text or I'll send you a text. And we are going to just acknowledge you here for a second. Right. So let me see. I want to see some informed investor. I am an informed investor. That has to be the theme. That has to be the theme. So I see all my people here on the YouTube. I need you guys to put some comments in the chat. If you want access, I need you to put access into the chat. But I also need to make sure that you have commented and shared, and I can actually check that here right now on IG. I need to make sure that you have commented, liked, and shared. Shout out to the people that shared the post from earlier, right? So we're looking to make sure that we help people get access. So we're going to give one slot away for tier 3 tonight. I do see a question. So while I want you guys to put that in for people here on YouTube. I want access. Access, access, access. So I can see you because I can't see all the names. Same thing here, access. So let me let people know we are going to do the giveaway. Giveaway now. Happening now. Right. So someone said, where's the best place to buy Bitcoin? You can use Uphold, Coinbase, even Robinhood. You just want to take it immediately off there and put it directly on some form of a wallet. So those are my suggestions. Put it on a wallet. Do not leave it on the platform. If you want to sell, you can go ahead and sell, and you can go ahead and bring it back to make a sale whenever you decide, hey, if I want to take some profits or you want to raise some cash, etc. So I do see access, 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 access. I am a informed investor. All right. So we are going to give it to consistency coach. So I do see that. I believe that's Miss Latanya. So I do want to go ahead and give you an opportunity. So you're going to get tier 3 access into the classes, right? So I definitely do want to make sure that I can give you access into the classes. I know you have been coming on to quite a few lives. You've asked me a couple questions. So we're going to reward you on Christmas. I'm going to give you a Christmas present. So Merry Christmas to you and your family. Go ahead and send me a DM and we'll get you squared away. So it's 9:18 here. Tomorrow the market is going to open up. Again, full trading day tomorrow. So you do have a full day tomorrow. Let me make that note there. Full day tomorrow. So we are getting ready to close out here for pretty much tonight. We appreciate everybody for being in the building. It is 9:18, so we'll wrap up here now. We do want to say we have like maybe two more slots for you guys to lock in. For anybody that is interested in a 4-day live in-person mentorship, you do get 4 live training days with me at your choosing. We'll figure that, we'll figure the dates out. So you come in person. We've had a few people lock in. You can go ahead and send me your name, email, and number. So 750 locks your slot in. The total cost is 1,500. In 2026, it will be right. In 2026, it will be 2,500. So by you locking in today, you're going to save yourself officially $1,000, right, in cost, and you are only having to pay the deposit. Let's make that clear. The 750 is what the deposit is. So you should be good to go, right? Because you are only paying the deposit. So keyword, you are only paying the deposit. Very, 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 very important that you do know that, right? So once you come in, you can obviously, like I said, get more access, learn directly one-on-one with me. So that's a steal right there. That is a steal. So many people have pulled the trigger because they know it's a steal. We got 2 slots left for you. Deal expires tomorrow. The Christmas special for access into the community for those that are on the outside looking in will expire tomorrow. So I do appreciate y'all for being in the building tonight. Very grateful. Happy holidays to everyone. How would we physically protect ourselves from AI? If you would like to know how, I'm not going to say that on this Zoom nor on these cameras. But if you would like to know exactly what, you can send me a direct message and we can have a conversation on that, right? So that will be something I only will speak about in person. I will never speak about it, the particulars on a Zoom or any cameras around. So I'm just going to say that. So, yep. Thank you guys very much. But very great question right there. So anybody, I will never speak about it on any Zoom or cameras around, right? But there's ways to protect yourself from AI, not to what you saw in the movies, but I'm just going to leave it up to some people's imaginations. But as you can imagine, we need to make those investments. So any money that you're getting, you know, start to budget aside, put a few dollars aside, because I'm going to end up in the long run, not yet. I'm going to bring in, and we'll have this will only be in person because we can't put this on Zoom. Ways that you can protect yourself from AI because it's important. AI technology is a good thing, but eventually, please and thank you may run out. So you want to be mindful of that. These are still machines at the end of the day with no souls and no feelings. For real, for real. So you guys have seen a lot, and this isn't to spook anyone, the conspiracy. Nuh-uh. This is just the reality. These are just the facts. We have to protect ourselves from AI because it's here and it's prevalent. And imagine when AI gets too much control. It's controlling traffic too much. It's controlling your vehicles too much. It's controlling this too much. That's too reliant. So that's it. We'll wrap this thing up here. Everyone sleep tight and sleep good tonight. And let's make it a major day tomorrow. S&P 500 made a new high. 700 on the S&P 500 looks like it's about to materialize here. Excited to see what's next. And 2026 stock and options playbook Sunday 6 p.m. That will be mentee only. So guys, please do not send me a message if you are to try to say, hey, I'm going to get It won't be no YouTube. You will not see me on YouTube until maybe next week. High value information will stay inside the community in 2026. So, this playbook is not going to hit the streets. I'm going to tell you that now. But you can take that Christmas post I gave you today and you can utilize that for your benefit because that was some good stuff. But all right, guys, it's 9:23. Enjoy the rest of your night. Rest up and maybe watch Stranger Things tonight. Show Netflix a little bit of love. Netflix needs it, but not just too much yet. We need Netflix behind to come down a bit more so we can get it at the right price. because I need Netflix is behind at about 55 to $65. So please do not make Stranger Things go too high.